All right, welcome to another episode of the Fatboy FadeAway Sports Podcast, September 12th here, 2021. My son's birthday. Can you believe it? My second, Xavier, happy birthday.
How old is he?
Turned 6 today.
Well, let me wish him a happy birthday personally. I'm going to give you a call after this and have you wake him up.
Well, he does need to wake up a little bit earlier because we are taking him to his first baseball game today. A's game again this week with that we'll get into later. It's gonna be me, Xavier, his older brother, and then my dad's gonna go again too. So we got free tickets on like Monday.
You're not like George Foreman where you have all your kids named Xavier. Your oldest son's name is Derek.
Yeah, did I say Xavier? Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
getting bad. Yeah, Derek, my oldest son, Derek, and then my dad. So that'll be fun going to the game again today.
Poppy.
Yeah, we'll do that. Hopefully the A's bullpen won't blow it again, but we'll talk about that here as well later. So yeah, Xavier, happy 6th birthday. Love you, son. I'm looking forward to today with him. It's been really neat with him the last like 6 months or so because they kind of hit this age where you're like kind of at some point you're like, oh my gosh, they're like you can't figure him out sometimes, and then he's grown a lot, like just the way he processes things and stuff. So it's neat to see. And then yesterday we had his first soccer game, and it's just I'm the coach out there with under 8, right? So basically 6, 7-year-olds out there.
Does it look like beehive?
My dad, his thought was that like not as many kids were aggressive as maybe before, but I still kind of thought it was more of that. It's just kind of a bunch ball basically. But it was so funny. There was this kid like on my team, and we're like middle of the game or something. And I'm trying to, I'm hustling, trying to get everything because the refs, not doing anything. So I'm picking up the ball basically and doing everything and trying to speed up the game. And the guy's like, he's like, yeah, I went to this Friday Night Live thing, which is basically like a Thursday night market or something like that in your town. And he's like, yeah, this girl tried to kiss me the other day, and I didn't really appreciate it. I was like, what are we talking about here? And then the very next possession, he's like, did you know macaroni is my favorite food? So I was just like, what is going on here? So then I had kids crying off the field. We had other things. It was like a 99 degrees.
Like babysitting. It's not coaching. It's babysitting.
And the other team, the players had like they have the, what do you call those? The tents you put up over the canopies over them.
Canopy.
Have one, and they were like, why don't we have one of those?
Bring your own canopy.
So it was pretty funny, but it was good. So I look forward to the game today with my son. So happy birthday, Xavier, out there. And as you call him, Choppy. So we'll do that with it. That will be kind of our day. And then I guess Hannah's going to be making some lasagna tonight. That's what Xavier requested. So it should be a good day ahead. How was your week?
It was good. Nothing too crazy. Just been opening cards and buying cards and selling cards and working a ton. I saw a cool video online about, did you see that in Miami, the cat? I know you saw it.
Mateo sent it to us.
Could you imagine catching that cat, how mad it would be? And like, I can only imagine how many scratches per second there were.
I retweeted it. I think Mateo said it best on the message there. And he goes, the dude, because the cat fell down, and then the dude like picked it up like Simba, basically.
Yeah.
He lifted it to the crowd.
Yeah.
You haven't seen this video, it's great. And then Mateo's basically like, that dude had to have paid the price. He gave zero, of showing any affection. So he probably got scratched up pretty good. That guy, I am not a cat person, so I would have been like, no thanks, I'm out of that day. I would have been like, no way.
There were no cats harmed in the video either.
Like you would not want me on the grounds crew that has to try to get the cats off the field. I would not be effective in that regard. I would just be running away.
Maybe you would be more effective because you don't like cats. So you just swipe it with a broom.
Maybe I would be.
Get out of here, cat.
Well, I've played pickup basketball now like a few weeks in a row. It feels good to get back out on the court. You got to get back out there.
Too fat and slow now to say, no, I'll get out there I'll get out there sometime, but are you playing tonight? No, you can't play tonight.
No, the other night it was more random on Friday. It just kind of happened very end, spur of the moment, like around 6:30, we ended up getting a few players. So it was just 2-on-2. Casey came out there as well. And it's good getting a little basketball. I was playing against people that were, they used to play for me. So they're, I think they're about 18 now, 19. They're going into college basically.
And you've been coaching for like 10 years?
Longer than that. I think I've been coaching there
basketball.
Yeah, I've been coaching at that school for I think for 15 years now. So a long time. So and those kids were the kids I was playing with the other day were like kind of our first little junior high championship team. So one of them was going to UCLA, one of them was going to Santa Cruz. The other one goes to the JC. So it was funny.
High prestigious schools.
Yeah, we had a smart class for sure. But it was funny reminiscing with them after because we were talking and stuff after the game and like that's the reason you kind of coach because we were talking about like old games and stuff and they were like yeah we used to I was so arrogant back then I told the principal we weren't losing and stuff like that I was like I'm gonna smack you back then if I do that. That's the case. I was like we don't want to get that arrogant and then like we were just talking about like I was like when Derek got sick during their 8th grade year just like yeah your dad took over and he's like oh yeah I forgot about that just kind of the fun things like that we were like just catching up with. So it was good catching up with those guys a little bit. It made me think of like things in life we do that are like, because I think, in life, human beings, we're always trying to take shortcuts, right? We're always trying to get shortcuts. Well, and I don't always mean shortcuts in a negative way. We're just thinking sometimes like shorter, like with our health, like with our health, for example, right? We're just like, I'm hungry, I'm going to go to McDonald's instead of like thinking the long-term effects of it. So I was thinking like that's kind of like why I got into coaching was kind of for those reasons. Like you build a relationship young, hopefully you have this chance to kind of have a long-term. So hopefully I will continue with these guys and other people at the school. But it made me think of other things that like are such short-term, gains that you kind of look to do. Like health is the one I always think about. Like I did not eat well enough or something like that. Like so
I just eat way too much crap food and whatnot, like cookies and like after like midnight, I was like, oh, I can eat some cookies. And then I end up gaining weight and I'm disappointed and upset.
Or
the
like
shortcut. Most shortcuts are not a helpful thing to do. You normally shouldn't take the shortcut.
Or like that cat video we were talking about, short-term gain, holding up that cat for a little cheer. That's a long-term scratch right there. You don't want any part of that. Also, I said like the podcast, you know what I mean? That's kind of like, short-term, you have to think long-term basically in that regard. So you can't
there's no shortcut.
Yeah. So I was thinking of those things like that as well. And just, I'm sure your dad has the same type of stories. Like you just see people later on that you're a coach and stuff. So that was pretty neat to do this week as well. Play a little basketball. And I went to that game on Tuesday, that A's White Sox game. Got to see Andrew play. Andrew Vaughn almost went deep on the first pitch to the warning track, right center field. But it was funny just running into people that you like spent time with at the Little League field, like for like because when you're in Little League coaching, like your dad and my dad and like our parents can relate to it. Like if your kids are pretty good, you're kind of in this little niche for a few years, like especially if you're doing all-stars and stuff like that, you see a lot of each other and stuff like that. So it was kind of funny seeing like Dion and Toby and
who are these people?
Who are these people? Toby's Andrew's dad and Dion I coached with at Mark West. And people that helped me a lot coaching when I was like 18 or 19, like really gave me a perspective.
Showed you the road, showed you the ropes.
Well, I was just like, okay, this is how I need to run a practice. Like they were just way more like informative. I was like, the first thing that's when I realized I was like, okay, I have a lot to learn still. It was like, we were doing batting practice and like no coach has ever done batting practice like this. Not even, or no, like this is how they do in the pros. Like they'd be like five pitches that you have a round of like 3 people in a group, right? Everybody get 5 pitches, next round 4, 3. And so it would just go down and down and down. I was like, oh, that's a way to keep it paced, but not people get too bored on the sideline. And it just made me think of efficiency and stuff like that. So those guys were big helps to me for sure. But it was neat catching up with them. Even like, remember Matt Miller? I saw.
Little Matt.
Parents are there. I guess he's a firefighter now. So he's out fighting in the fires. His dad was saying.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people that I
stay safe.
I couldn't recognize as well because I haven't seen they're older.
Did they recognize you?
Yeah, they recognized me. Well, some of them did anyways. I don't know if all of them did. So yeah, it was good seeing that. But it was sad too at the game. I'm like, literally there's probably like 4,000 people at this game. Like going around, like the whole way around. Like it was just, I mean, maybe
4,000.
Maybe there's people in luxury box or like walking around the stadium, but I mean like sitting down, like in the like where you could really see it. Like not very many people. My dad and brother guessed 7,000. So, but I mean, after the A's are blowing games like they did yesterday, which was a 5-run, giving up 5 runs in the 8th inning, can you blame anybody? It's just pathetic at this point. Like I'm going to the game today too. And it's like, that's a big loss yesterday. It's like, what are we supposed to do now? You know what I mean? It's like, we would only be 1 game out. Now we're 2 games out, and you got to pass till 4 teams, basically. It's tough. So I don't know.
You got to get hot. You can't.
It's tricky. And stupid Romo's the one, blowing most of these games over here. I was thinking of first games though, real quick. Do you have any memories of going to like a first game with your dad or whoever?
Yeah,
Everyone has to have one.
Yeah, it was April of '98. I went with my cousin's ex-husband, my dad, my brother, and one of their daughters in St. Louis, and saw Mark McGwire hit 3 home runs.
That could have
ended up.
Was that your first game though?
Not my first game. I don't remember my first game. I was probably like 2.
Okay, well, I mean, like a first game.
I probably was like a little piece of like that was more of a baby in a little thing. I don't know.
Was it the McGwire
first
3
game.
home runs, you said?
Yeah, 2 off Jeff Suppan, and Matt Williams, who was a Giants player back in the day and was one of my favorite players at a Grand Slam. So it was just like a fun game to be at.
Yeah, and St. Louis would be a fun crowd to go to because they're like a baseball crowd and they're like every pitch usually for the most part. I don't remember. I wasn't referring to like when you were 2 and you can't remember. Alana doesn't want me to take Grace. She says she's too young. I said, come on, people who take these babies younger, we can get it. We can handle it. We could have Stomper.
Yeah,
we can entertain us.
Yeah, Stomper would come over for sure if there's 4,000 people there. Have a little entertainment.
That was a little controversy in our house this week. Can you take a 2.5-year-old to a sporting event, to a professional game?
Loosen up, let her go, let her enjoy the Oakland fans.
No, the environment, right? There were so little people there at the game. Like Hendricks was there, and we were sitting right by the bullpen, and Leah Hendricks, who was the closer for the A's last year and for a few years, people in right field were like, in like the 6th inning, like, Liam, we miss you. He's like, I know. Like, you can like clearly hear him. Like, it's like it was pretty pathetic, but it was kind of funny to be a part of. Like, it's just, what do you call it? Low cost baseball, basically, if you want to see it. So,
and this isn't a small stadium that only fits like 25,000. It's like a 70,000 person stadium.
No, not at all. Hey, before we take a break here, let's kind of finish with MLB too, since I kind of got into the A's a little bit. The Giants stay hot. They're just, I mean, if like the other day, right? They score 5 runs in the 8th or 9, well, something like that. Like,
they won 2 games. 2 out of the 3 games, they won the first game by a ton, and then they won against Colorado, 1 in the 8th and 1 in the 9th.
And that's why it's important in fantasy baseball. This is my tip to anybody, because I'm a decent fantasy baseball player, is you got to look at the schedule come September in the playoffs. Like, just feast. Like, when you see when the Giants are playing Rockies, Cubs back to back, it's like, just pick up some players that are on their team, because those teams usually just get demolished. You know what I mean? That's like next week, the Dodgers, I would expect them to be hot. They play the Diamondbacks, and I think they play the Rockies. So
good for you.
They need to cook. Well, it's not good for me because stupid Chris Taylor got hurt, and then Cronenworth got hit in the stupid hands. And I gotta figure something out here for the next week. But I'm sure you're not feeling sorry for me. But with back to the Giants though, real quick before we take a break. Like I said, they stay hot against the Cubs. Chris Bryant, I thought he got a pretty cool ovation there. There's nothing like a Cubs day game. Like, I mean, we're going to talk about the U.S. Open here in a few minutes, and that's on my bucket list. Definitely going to Wrigley Field's on the bucket list as well.
Yeah, that'd be a cool place to go. I'm not a big fan of the Cubs day games just because I could never watch them because I'm either at work or school or my whole life. So I've always been like, damn, they're playing the Cubs. I'm not going to get to watch the game.
Yeah, that part.
They play so many day games. It'd be cool to like visit Chicago and go to like Cubs day game for sure.
It's kind of crazy to me. They didn't even have lights till like 1988 or something like that. 89, I think it was, like the summer of. That's crazy to me. But like, it just all the way up to that point, they were playing day games. All 81 home games. So that's just a small little random fact. I always feels different. Also, a little fact yesterday. What did you think of the Brewers? They throw a no-hitter yesterday. Burns goes 8 innings, throws 115 pitches, but he doesn't get the chance at the no-hitter. What do you think of that?
I loved it. I was like, conserve that arm for next year, buddy. We're gonna need it.
He didn't seem upset.
No, but honestly, I like all these guys before me got to put this on their resume, or at least had a chance to put it on their resume, and I'm just getting yanked. It's a resume building thing to throw a no hitter. Like, if you get enough of them, it becomes a big deal. So
That's kind of the way I look at it. Is like I'm not saying like they're the rarest thing in the world, like, but they're still pretty rare. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it's not an every week or every 3 start thing. It's like 1 a year max for that player.
With that said, we do have a record 9th no hitter this year, so there's a lot more going on this year. So that'll be said.
Is that counting Bumgardners or no?
I'm not counting Bumgardners on that one. I'm not counting Bumgardners for sure. All right, let's take a break real quick here. We'll come back with a little tennis, little football here. Week 1, we'll get everybody ready for Tyler's Niners up there and a few other games we're looking forward to. We'll be back. All right, we're back here on the Fatboy FadeAway Sports Podcast. I mentioned I was going to the A's game, so if you see us out there, my son's holding this sign. That you'll know that's us out there. He kind of
started. Can you hold that
drawing,
up again? I want to tell you. I want to analyze that. What's the blob?
Yeah, me and Hana weren't really sure where he was going with that, and then he started drawing this line off the side of it. We were like, "What are you doing? Stop! You're making this look weird." And like, stop. So I had to put like an arrow on there. I was like, "Son, we got to work on the creativity here."
Who made it, Derek?
Derek made it. So we helped him spell the stuff, but yeah, he made the side. So we're sitting right behind home plate, but a little bit up. I think second deck.
The twos.
No, we're still on the first deck. We're 30 rows up. So.
Okay. Oh, nice.
I always tell people you're the only person I've been with that's got a foul ball. Because Derek, after the first game, was funny. He goes, he was so mad. He's like, I didn't get a souvenir, like, or a ball. I was like, that's not how it works, son.
You never get a souvenir.
Not how it works. So, but during that game, the spot we were at got a lot of action. So I'm expecting.
Oh, really?
Well, because they go to the second deck and then they bounce back into the first. Yeah, they kind of, or they just over. So, yeah, it was good. So, anyways, that was you see that sign out there? That's us. Hana's dad, Mark, he's a really big tennis fan. So I end up always talking a lot of tennis with him. Me and you talk tennis every once in a while. We always mention how we used to play tennis.
When the majors are going on.
When the majors, yeah, well, let's be honest about it. Me and you aren't checking into on the regular tournaments.
No.
But most people aren't anyways. And we're just
the Sony Open isn't getting any run.
No, and so I would say we're like you're below average fans, but when the majors come, me and you pay way more attention a little bit. And then there's certain tournaments throughout the year that maybe we watch more than others. Then that's kind of how I feel we're fans. Like I might be just doing things more where I'm at home during the Australian Open late. And so I'm able to catch more of that time than. So it just kind of changes with our schedule. But I usually obviously can watch more of the U.S. Open because, it's in America. So
prime time, baby.
So anyways, I was really into it this year. For me, tennis this year was better, and I was really interested because the crowd was back. And I like the crowd in New York. It's so much better than any of the other crowds, I feel like, at any of the other majors. They just pack more in there. It's much more got a feel of like
hostile, a little more
not just
gentlemanly or lady.
Yeah, they're not just elegantly to it, like clapping all the time. There's a little bit more heckling once in a while, or some boos come out, or like what I really like is like if a player they don't want to win hits a bad shot, they'll cheer or something like that. Like I don't mind that stuff. So I wish tennis would actually have more of that. But did you watch any of the women's final yesterday? I'm gonna mess the name up. Emma, say it for me.
I have no idea.
Raducanu? I think it's Raducanu.
I don't know.
I think it's Raducanu. She beat Leylah Fernandez. It was a pretty cool match though, based on these girls were both teenagers. Neither of them had like really been anywhere. Leylah had never been past the third round. The other girl, Emma, never had she'd only been in one major before. She had to qualify just to make this one. But which was surprising because watching her play, I watched the whole match yesterday and I watched her the semifinal a little bit. I was like, she's pretty good. I'm surprised she never.
They both were good for the most part. They'd hit some bad shots, but like they were pretty good for 18 and both were 19. No, Leylah's 19 and Emma's 18.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were both really good. And Leylah was the story of the tournament. I started hearing about her in like the quarterfinals. I thought she was an American because of how much love she was getting. I was shocked when I found out she was Canadian. I was like, wow, they're really getting behind this Canadian girl.
We're in Canada. Like, because you were close to it. So I was wondering if she was close to that.
Like Alberta or something. I don't know. Yeah, that could be. But I was just like, why is this girl getting all this traction? And I've never seen two caramely skinned girls from such pasty white areas as Canada and Great Britain. I was like, these girls aren't from Canada. There's no way. But I was just shocked, but that was my most shocking thing, looking at the countries and what these girls look like. Both beautiful women, but yeah.
She's from Montreal, which is pretty close to that area up there. So yeah, maybe that's
Is
where
that where the Bills went and played? No, they played in Van. Yeah, they played in. What did they play?
they played in Toronto, but that's even closer. Anyways, yeah, no, it was a really good women's final yesterday. It only went 2 sets, but I just enjoyed watching a lot of the tennis. I just enjoy the prime time at U.S. Open. Just there's something about like I guess it's a nostalgic thing for more for me than anything else. Like it's just something that it's kind of like the Olympics how I discussed in terms of like it's something on for a couple of weeks and you don't always appreciate it when it's on, but when it's there, it's kind of nice to have it as an option. And so like you kind of don't always get these like great matchups, but then once in a while there's like an upset that you're not expecting, or it goes 5 sets, or there's just something like that's kind of good about it. And I like the announcers. I feel like they're all pretty good for the most part of the U.S. Open. And yeah.
There's just good storylines like in tennis. There's always that one girl who comes from this year we had 2. And I think last year when we had the blonde American girl, I don't think I've heard who won it. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've heard her name since whenever she won that major. And just the storylines are always intriguing. And then the men, do you want to transfer or move this to the men, or you still want to talk about the women?
Well, the only thing I was to say, last thing about this is like, can these girls sustain it? We'll see. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, most of them don't.
Is it just a miracle run, or we'll see what happens. Like with but I gotta say they were both pretty good. Maybe they're just on their game for 2 weeks, but I was pretty impressed with Emma. Lady just had way more power. Her power just outdid her, and Fernandez couldn't locate well enough on her shots. It was fun watching it with Hannah because she actually watched the whole finals with me. We rewatched it at night, and so it was funny to break it down because she doesn't usually watch that stuff with me. So it was fun to do that. Yeah, let's. One last thing for the women's final too. If you're betting, they said whoever wins the first set has won 53 out of 59 of the last majors in the championship. So win that first set, you're pretty good.
And women,
yeah, pretty good chance of winning. Yeah, and the men's though, Djokovic plays tonight. He goes or this afternoon, I guess, 1:00. He's playing against the number 2 seed. I just can't say his last name, but he's from Russia.
I don't know.
Nebrev, I think it is. Is that how you say it? Or no, Medvedev or something like that. I feel like it is. Let's talk about Djokovic for a second. Like going for the most majors ever in tennis. Is it? That's a big deal. Like when I've watched him play more this tournament, I'm starting to appreciate his game a little bit more. Like I kind of maybe didn't give him enough respect before because he was kind of in the shadows. I feel like and some other good players as well. Even though he was still winning, it just felt like those guys were kind of a little bit ahead of him still because of the majors they had. But now that he'll be passing, I'm like, he's just a gritty guy. Like, to be honest, he might be one of the best competitive athletes in any sport.
He reminds me of Floyd Mayweather in the way he takes on the tennis match. He always like loses the first set and he doesn't look that great, but I think he's just like mentally taking notes, what this guy does, how I'm going to get to these ball. And then he just dominates. Normally last match, he had a little more trouble in the 4th set, but then he wins the next string. And like, that's what Mayweather would do. And lose the first 2 rounds, but I'm taking in all this information and then just pick you apart till you quit.
He's a killer.
Oh,
he has this mentality. You can just see when you watch him. That's why tennis, it always kind of pumps me up in the finals because like there would be this adrenaline rush if you're out there in front of all these people and you were hitting these big shots and you were playing 1-on-1 and the crowd was feeding you this energy. There would be something that'd be pretty exciting about that, I feel like. And he just seems to rise to the occasion. He doesn't get mentally fatigued and he does not get physically fatigued. Like he is in by far better shape than all those guys. You can just see it. It's very rare. Like you can see it, but like, that's the only reason I can explain why he gets so much better as these matches move on. Like you said, he loses the first set. A lot of players would kind of crumble after that. He just gets better. He tightens up all his shots and the other guys, they actually get tighter knowing he's coming. Like he's going to come in like the Italian guy. I forget Berrettini. He had like his quotes after he played Djokovic to me were like just the signs of like these guys have no chance. He's like I have played some of the best tennis I could, and I felt like he was just better. You know what I mean?
He's not even in his prime anymore. He's going for the Grand Slam of majors.
It's like pitchers talking about Barry Bonds in a sense. Like I don't know. I just think we need to appreciate good athletes when we see him, like we do with Serena at times. Like this guy's, if he wins today, he's going to have the most majors in tennis, and he might not win, but he'll probably eventually get it at some point. And he's going for the Grand Slam this year. Like he's winning he'll have every major. That's pretty crazy as well. I don't know.
Did he win the Olympic gold medal as well?
I don't think he did. I think he lost to might be lost to the guy he played in the semifinal from Germany there, I think.
Zverev.
Yeah. So anyways, little U.S. Open talk there. Sorry if anybody doesn't necessarily like it a lot, but I think me and Tyler we just really like the primetime matchups, the finals usually, especially the U.S. Open.
And I just like the individualism. Like, dude, there's no one else to blame but yourself. Or if you succeed, there's no one else you have coaches and stuff, but there's no any help. It's on you. Deal with everything that comes at you, and you got to deal with it yourself.
I think it was my mother-in-law was over watching one of the tennis matches with Mark over there. I think it was the Emma lady that won, Raducanu. She won, and it was like
Matata.
It was probably a first round matchup, and she was smiling after the matchup, and her mom goes, she's got nice teeth. She must have grew up rich, and I made me think for a second. I was like, and for the whole week, I was like, that actually is kind of true. That is a little bit of a sign of wealth if you have like perfect.
Oh, for sure.
Like why it's but I just thought that the whole time I was watching the finals yesterday, I couldn't get that out of my thought. The teeth were too straight. I could. So, anyways, good matchup. Hey, is there a matchup that you remember the most in a tennis match? Like for me, it was Agassi coming back 2-0 against. I can't remember the guy's name.
Baghdadis. I think.
Yeah. Yes, and it was just like I think it might have been.
I remember that.
Top 16. It wasn't like a top 8 matchup or anything. I think it was like the round 4 or something matchup.
Yeah, I think it was 16.
He was down 2-0. I remember the old USA TV days. It was on prime time there. He came back 2 sets to win, and the crowd was super in. I was like, "Oh, this is awesome!" Like that was when I first kind of felt that little vibe.
Mine is the Federer, Nadal, Wimbledon, where Nadal finally broke through and on the grass, where Federer had won like 6 in a row. He just seemed unbeatable, and they went like 5 sets and like extra game, like a ton of extra games.
It was like dark outside.
Yeah, and they were just playing great tennis, and like Federer wasn't giving in, and Nadal wasn't giving in, and then somehow Nadal came through, broke serve, and won.
Yeah, no, that's the one with that one I remember is I couldn't watch it. That's why that one doesn't stick out to me as much. I remember watching the highlights of it and like being pissed that I couldn't watch it. Like you just middle of watching something like that would be crazy. All right, well, a little tennis talk there. Let's take one little final break here. We'll be back with week 1, breaking it down here. The moneymaker. We'll be back. All right, we're back with our ping pong segment. No, just kidding.
When you hit a slice like this,
that was good. NFL week 1. That's why everybody's here. No, just kidding. Brian, the Christmas the Christmas presents are there today. They're under the tree, as Brian Johnson would say, ready to be opened up.
Ready to be ripped open,
as he says. Week 1 here, NFL. It is kind of always an exciting day, though. Just kind of again, something on TV again on a Sunday, right? Something to watch, something to kind of maybe put a little
day long.
Put a little moolah on once in a while. Pastors cannot be happy about this day. The attendance goes down on Sundays, or does it go up on Saturday nights? You don't know. We'll see how it works out. But NFL week 1 back. First game Thursday. Brady beats the Cowboys, of course, coming back. Gronkowski makes some big catches. I saw some big stat about 100. Was there something to do with 100 comebacks or anything? Did I miss something with the 100 number?
I have no idea.
You're looking at me like you have no idea what you're talking about.
I have no idea what you're talking about. 100.
All right, well, let's move on from that. I do want to say Dak Prescott looked pretty good there.
He looked great. I was shocked. I thought the Bucs defense would give him trouble, but he has great. I mean, he played great. I don't know what else. They have good weapons. Ezekiel sucked. He couldn't run the ball.
Kind of a noodle arm, though. Did it feel like he was throwing little lobs up there?
It looked like he didn't have all of his arm strength back yet. But to put those numbers up and be that effective without all your arm strength against that defense,
yeah, he was
good work.
I just thought he was throwing a lot of. It looked like ducks up there. Even our guy Savage was like, "Look at that arm!" But then at the end, everybody was giving him props and stuff like that because, I mean, he was on the money with a lot of his targets. Cooper played well too in that game.
CeeDee Lamb played good. Gallup got hurt.
You just can't give Brady over a minute with the ball and a chance and a field goal to beat you. It's just, it's
The Cowboys
probably not winning that game.
Well, the Cowboys ran that last drive so poorly. They ran it, the Bucs called timeout, and then they threw it for some stupid reason when the Bucs had one timeout left, and threw an incompletion. Supposedly, CeeDee Lamb, according to was it Chris Collinsworth, said he was supposed to run an out route when he ran a hit, and then so you have one timeout with the Bucs, and then they get a holding call and they go back 10 yards. I thought the Bucs should have declined that call and just taken the fourth down so they'd have like
more time,
15 extra seconds. Yeah. But they wanted to miss the field goal, which is understandable. But yeah,
it was a good first game. I think we learned that just can't give Tom the time with it. I don't believe in the Bucs. I don't think they're going to be in the Super Bowl at some point. I just feel like it's so hard to win back to back. And I know Brady's good, but injury, there's always something. I just don't know when that shoe will drop, but we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong with it. I'll do the Giants take with the Bucs, right? The shoe will drop eventually with the Bucs.
Tom looked terrific also, though. He looked as good as ever the way through the ball.
Yeah, he did throw a couple of picks though.
One was a Hail Mary, and one bounced off Leonard Fournette's hand. They weren't like bad read picks.
Hail Mary, that's always got to hurt the stats once in a while. I do that. Is there any game or that you're looking for in particular other than the Niners? We'll get into the Niners here in a sec, but any game that you're looking forward to?
I want to see the Monday night game with the Ravens and the Raiders, just to see Lamar. Well, I have some fantasy implications, probably mostly with Josh Jacobs
and Lamar Jackson. You said
I have Brady, but I want to see Lamar Jackson and see if there's any difference, if it's the same Ravens.
Yeah, they have their whole running back crew out. Basically, they've signed
their best running back still there in Lamar. So
true,
not like
true.
The other guy's more of a decoy.
You are playing the Raiders defense, so there's a good chance that you can do something positive. They are going to be playing in that stadium the first time with some crowd there, so we'll see if Raiders difference. I mean, I'm just so negative on them, aren't I? I'm pretty harsh on the Raiders. I don't have anything to say, but they deserve it, to be honest.
Have they given you anything to be positive about lately? Like,
no, they have never given me anything positive.
Never. That's a lot.
In the last 20 years, there's not been much. Maybe ever since that Super Bowl loss, there's been nothing except for good quotes about negativity.
You're the stupidest team in America.
Niners game today, Lions. What do you? I kind of feel like it's going to be a pretty close game. I think you've mentioned with Brian, you think it's going to be a blowout.
Yeah.
I know Brian and Adam have a bet on it, so I'm very interested to see what the game is. The Niners have to win by 10 for Brian to win the bet. So what do you think for today's game?
I think the Niners. No, I think they're gonna run the ball 40 times. Trey Sermon and Mostert will get like 15, 20 carries each, and it's just gonna be. I mean, I don't trust the Lions coach. I think he's terrible. I mean, I haven't seen him coach yet, but I can't imagine him being good from some of his quotes. And they beat the Lions 2 years ago when they had Stafford the last time they played. Now they have Goff. So
I feel like coaches that talk like him usually have like a 1 year ceiling. They kind of have like a 1 year maybe, like where they kind of lose the room. They're too over the top with some of their emotion and their passion for certain things. I kind of couldn't see Dan Campbell falling into that category. So you just think it'll be a walk in the park then. The Lions defense doesn't show up. You guys run the ball. I just feel like the Lions will play a little bit better than that. Goff being the first game. I just think it'll be a little closer, but you guys will probably have a better chance of being right. I guess that would be the way to put it.
I imagine the Niners beating the Lions like they beat the Jets in week 2 without all the injuries. It was bad team they were playing, and they just ran the ball.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. They could just do it like that. We'll see. Moser, hopefully he'll have a good game for me. I have him on my fantasy team. Player that you're looking to watch today.
Eckler, because he's been questionable all week. I have high hopes for the Chargers, and he
like,
needs to be
crazy
healthy for this
picking the
whole thing
Chargers.
to work.
I was looking back at it. That was kind of a reach pick, the Chargers. I mean, they didn't even make the playoffs last year.
That's okay.
That doesn't usually happen in the NFL. I wanted to actually
It happens all the time in the NFL. The Bucs did make the playoffs last year.
I'm just surprised the Chargers. That's all. I'm just surprised.
I think Herbert's a stud, and Keenan Allen's a top 6 receiver. They have Mike Williams. They have Eckler when he's healthy. They got Joey Bosa for pass rush. I think they're Derwin James in the secondary. They're just never healthy, and they had terrible coaching the last 2 years, so they didn't win enough.
All right. We'll see. I'm glad I just wanted to give you a chance to defend your pick against some of the people doubting it. I have Josh Allen. He's the guy I'm kind of want to watch today against the Steelers. The Steelers, to me, have a good defense. I picked them to play these two teams in the AFC Championship game. So I'm very curious to see how the first week goes. Obviously, it's week 1. They would be completely different by the playoffs anyway. So I don't put too much stock into that, other than there'd be a mental confidence maybe you'd have over that team. But again, first week. But I'm curious to see how Josh Allen plays. He's getting a lot of MVP hype. And he starts off with the Steelers, which isn't always the easiest team to play on week 1. So I'll be curious to see how that goes. How about the team you're looking forward to? Kind of just evaluating.
The Rams.
The Rams, okay.
Yeah, just because I want to see if they're going to throw the ball 60 times a game like they say on the radio all the time. Like McVay's just going to air it out. They don't have Cam Akers. He's out for the year. They have Sony Michel and Devery Henderson, who aren't the best backs. I just want to see how they're going to play offense. If it's going to figure it out.
Over under 5 wide receiver screens for the Rams.
Over.
I feel
a lot of jet sweeps and wide receiver screens.
I got the Patriots as a team. They play the Dolphins today. 120. Mac Jones first start. I don't know. I just kind of feel like that's kind of an interesting team. I kind of want to see how they play with him, and they cut Newton. There's some other games out there that I think are better, but I just kind of want to see how what's their result
with Mac.
Yeah, just kind of interesting, because if they win, that you get that Patriots ESPN train churning. That thing's going to be full hyped going into next week. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. And the Dolphins, should be better this year than the Patriots.
We're really loving the AFC East this year. Oh, that's the game you're talking about, though.
That's just the game team I'm looking forward to. And then the coach I'm looking forward to see is from my team, Gruden. Like seventh year. I mean, well, come on. Does the defense have anything? Do we have anything? I don't care about the offense anymore. Like, show up on the defensive end. I know you can coach offense. I know Y2 Banana can be successful, but let's make some better coaching decisions. Let's see if the defense actually shows up a little bit. So that's kind of, to me, he's the good coach I'm looking forward to Monday night, week 1, to kind of see. You?
Probably Shanahan, just to see how much they play Lance.
So both
if he
are
has a special package, if he even plays.
Yeah.
I mean, so probably Shanahan. See how he gets those fullbacks wide open for 30 yards, or gets Kittle open for 50. Let's see if he has that in him.
I also kind of want to see this Peyton, to see if he does anything different with Winston, or like how do they play differently with Breeze. And I'm just kind of curious, because Breeze is so accurate. It'll be interesting to see how they adjust their playbook with Winston, who's known for not being as accurate. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
I think it could work with Winston having more arm than Breeze had the last 4 years. Like, Breeze had trouble getting it past 25, 30 yards, where Winston can get it out 50. So it might open up more room underneath for those Sean Payton slants he loves to run to. Well, Michael Thomas won't be there, but just see if he opens things up with Jameis, or if he's just same check down for the most part.
On the Bucs, I always felt like Winston took a lot of chances, though. So, going deep. So we'll see it, to me, if that, in a dome. I don't think they're playing today in a dome, though, are they? They're probably not playing at the Superdome today.
No, they're not playing at the Superdome.
So with that kind of in mind, they play the Packers, I believe, today at home. That could be possibly a game of the day. Do you have any games that you're looking forward to today in particular? I got Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Cleveland, Kansas City, and Miami, New England. Those are the games to me that kind of have that. And then probably the Packers.
Cleveland, Kansas City is the most interesting one you've mentioned. I want to see Kansas City just flush those Browns down the toilet. show them who they really are. Baker Mayfield just isn't it for me. I'm not a fan. I don't trust him. I don't think he's that great. He just has all this talent around him that gives him some chance.
To me, he's not
But
quite. I mean, they're plus 195 underdogs, so the Chiefs pretty good favorites as well.
Well, the Chiefs are loaded again.
Yeah.
Like we said last podcast, they're just with their offensive line rebuilt and still have Tyreek and Kelsey. And I didn't realize how much fantasy implications they have in that game with Kelsey and Odell Beckham.
But yeah, Beckham would be interesting. So anyways, to me, those are the games I'm looking forward to. To me, it's an interesting slate of games this week. There's not the rookie like New York and Carolina. Yeah, that's a horrible one. Arizona, Tennessee, yeah, maybe a little bit. That's maybe an interesting game as well. The primetime game one, I feel is not that great. Chicago at Los Angeles.
Terrible.
Yeah, it's like, come on, we can't do better. Is it just because of the markets? Is that what we're doing here?
It has to be.
Yeah,
LA, Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Anybody really wants to see Andy Dalton or a rookie quarterback? I don't know. Like, to me, that's bad right there. I'd rather
if it was Fields, it'd be at least intriguing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Arizona, Tennessee should be on there. I'd rather watch that than those two teams, in my opinion, anyway. So
I would too, but I don't want that on there either.
Yeah, actually, I'm kind of surprised Pittsburgh Buffalo isn't the game. That's kind of the one that surprises me. That's not the primetime game, just considering those two teams have the history and kind of a little aura behind them. So, but anyways, I guess it's the Bears and the Chicago hype train we get.
Bears.
Anything else AFC you're looking forward to, or NFC? To me, the AFC is way better this year. Looking at the state, like early on, you look at the teams and it's like, to me, the AFC's depth is just, to me, much better. The teams are deeper.
I don't know about that. I'd have to look more into it. It hasn't been that way in a couple of years.
Last year that was the case.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
I guess you're right because of the injuries.
They were better. The teams were better last year, record-wise. Yeah. And if you got the Chargers taking a big leap, I mean, that seems like that would make them even. You'd have Chargers, the Chiefs, Colts, Titans, Ravens, Steelers, Browns, possibly the Bills. That's pretty deep.
Those are better than all those teams except the Chiefs.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a pretty deep conference right there.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
To me, it's a little deeper than like I guess unless our what is
when you have the NFC East, you're in trouble.
Unless our co-host like Brian says that NFC West, and especially if the NFC West goes all in on the playoffs, and the rest of the league must suck.
That is true.
In that regard, there. So, all right, week 1 NFL. Anything else you're looking forward to? What are you doing for the games? Just hanging out, or are you guys going to home?
I'm waiting for a mattress to be delivered.
We're waiting on a mattress. What an excuse to stay home. No, I'm just kidding. What an excuse to stay home.
It's not my excuse. I was trying to get to that A's game.
Yeah, that would have been fun if you got to go to the A's game with me. And it's kind of funny. Me and my dad, we went there for 15 years to Raiders games. And on a Sunday opening day, we will be in Oakland, but not for a Raiders game. We will be there for an A's Texas Rangers game, which we'll see. Maybe we get 10,000 today at the stadium over there. So good week. Tyler, good podcast. We're still maybe going to do the post-game one after NFL. We're thinking about doing stuff like maybe just a short reaction to them. I feel like those are fun to do, and maybe a little bit more interesting because we can kind of react to some of the things we saw. Brian might join us with those. Maybe we'll have a guest once in a while for those as well. Podcast in the books, episode 54. Thanks for joining us. We hope to see you guys.
Like and subscribe.
Have a good one. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.